Sneakers and Cleats, the podcast. Welcome back to the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. It is Thursday, December 21st. That's Zach Hedrick. I'm Matt Roy. This is episode 63. Back in our studios in San Antonio. Thank you to everyone who tuned in on Tuesday in Frisco. That was fun to do that live with Don and hear from Coach and hear from Rashad and Frank, even though the game the game went how they wanted. Their performances, however, did not.
Yeah, that kind of was a cruddy ending for them.
Yeah.
Just not being able to play as much as they wanted to, I'm sure. But.
Yeah, and we also didn't know until literally we signed off on the podcast on Tuesday, and then we see Pete Thamel tweet out Frank Harris might not be playing, and we were wondering why at the end of the podcast we were getting asked if Frank was healthy, and we were like, yeah. From what we know.
Yeah, I remember, getting asked that too. I was looking forward to watching Frank play and Rashad and, all the seniors and stuff. And then everybody's just like, what's this, and kind of crazy how those rumors came out. Yeah. And then, but kudos to Coach Traylor and his entire team, apparently keeping that under wraps for 3 weeks since the Tulane game.
Yeah, we'll get into it a little bit later, but it's just best kept secret in San Antonio is what Jeff called it. So anyway, thank you to everyone who tuned in, and we thought it went pretty well, and hopefully we can do more, on location ones a little bit later once we get into the new year. We're obviously going live again today, so that's good. Number 63, for people who don't know, we start out with the what number our episode number reminds you of. So for me, 63 reminds me of two things that aren't jersey numbers. 63 points for Michael Jordan against the Celtics, the playoff single game high still stands today. That was on the 21st of April in 1986. Double OT loss 135-131 to the Celtics in TD Garden. Michael Jordan kind of putting the Bulls on his back as he did for those early years, and 63 points against probably the best team that the Celtics ever had, with Larry and Bill Walton and Parrish and everybody.
Yeah, that Celtics team was pretty stacked from what I remember in the Last Dance documentary.
Yeah, exactly. I just rewatched it recently. That's why it still sticks out in my head. So, and then for all of us here in San Antonio, George Gervin had his career high was 63 points against the New Orleans Jazz on April 9th of 1978. So whoever was watching and listening on Tuesday, you heard Don mention that because he likes to get ahead of us on the numbers and not sticks to 62, which we were doing. So he mentioned that to 63. So I wanted to write that down. But also people who actually wore 63, Gene Upshaw, Jeff Saturday,
I think of Jeff Saturday immediately just because you're used to watching him, and Peyton Manning and all that, all the years of success that they had running that division. So
yeah, he's been in the news lately too, because Peyton Manning has been saying on the Manning cast how he knows Jeff Saturday's butt cheeks better than anybody.
Well, I guess that's going to happen, whenever you play that long with the same center and everything. I always like the mic'd up moment where Peyton Manning gets mad, and they're like, oh, and then, Jeff Saturday gets up in his face and, it's like, hey, and Jeff Saturday's, I don't know. He must have been feeling good after his lift that week or whatever.
He was like, run the damn ball. And Peyton's like, just play center, all right? Just play center. Let me handle it.
Classic moment.
Yeah. So, all right, we're going to get into a lot of stuff today. UTSA, we'll get into the Cowboys a little bit, but this is our last episode before the new year. We're going to be off all next week because I'll be going home for Christmas for the first time in 6 years or so. So back to Palm Springs, California. My parents and sister are very happy that's going to be happening.
Yeah.
So
enjoy the time with family, man.
I will be in the desert. You'll be at the Alamo Bowl on Thursday, so we're not going to see you on today. Thursday. So, and then Don and Chuck both off until Thursday, I think. So we're gonna call it a week and hope everyone has good Christmas and New Year's and holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, and
happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa.
Yeah. All those things, yeah. And we will be back on January 2nd. So because this is our last one, I want to get into a couple of Christmas topics before we get into some sports.
Hit me.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Okay, so this is where I send outrage to all the masses. I have not seen Die Hard, fully end to end. I know, there it is.
What?
I've got two people immediately stopping and looking at me right now. So I look forward to your letters. So
I look forward to your letters.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I have not seen it end to end. I don't know. It hasn't happened yet. So,
Bob, what year did that movie come out? Do you know?
Before I was born.
Yeah, I mean, that means it was before I was born too. But at least, I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, it's on the to-do list. There's a lot to do.
It's been on the to-do list, I guess, huh? And you're probably not going to have time this Christmas. Damn. All right. Well, I mean, for me, I've seen it. It's not a Christmas movie. Unequivocally, 100% not a Christmas movie. Christmas movies are like Elf. Like they revolve around Christmas. Like everything has to do with with presents or Santa or like a Christmas mission or a Christmas miracle or any of those things.
Or the meaning of the holiday.
Correct. Die Hard is like, it's not that. Don't look at me like that, Luis.
It's around a party.
Grab a mic. Grab the mic.
The movie takes place around a party, Christmas party.
Okay, but so that's the setting. That's why.
Because there's a Christmas party and because it's Christmas time doesn't make it a Christmas movie. Like Four Brothers in that case could be a Christmas movie, if you want to call it that. So have you seen Hawkeye, the Marvel series?
Not the Marvel series.
Okay,
no.
The Marvel series is taking place around Christmas time. Does that make it a Christmas series? No. It just means that it's taking place around Christmas. It's the same thing with Die Hard. Just because it's taking place around Christmas and there is a Christmas party doesn't make it a Christmas movie. Is it a good movie? Absolutely. Zach wouldn't know, but it is a good movie. Hopefully Zach will find out eventually.
I just know Alan Rickman's in it, and so I would look forward to watching him, and along with Bruce Willis.
Isn't it Hans Gruber? Is that the name of the movie? Hans? I think that's his name.
Yeah.
Also,
I know it's a hot topic of debate always this time of year.
All right. Well, let's get to, and since we're not going to, I don't think either of us put it as a Christmas movie. One, you haven't seen it, and two, I just don't think it is. What are your top 5 Christmas movies is the next question then.
Okay. Well, 1A and 1B for me are Home Alone and Christmas Vacation. Okay. Those two I can just watch end on end.
What?
And
how can Home Alone be a Christmas movie?
We have so many people debating in this room right now. We need to get more mics in here. Our digital guy.
It just happens to happen around Christmas.
I see. I'm not
Does
arguing.
Does it make it a Christmas movie?
No, but
I mean, if you go into like how, I mean, John Hughes and how that movie was made, the story of how Home Alone was made was pretty fascinating. Budget movie kind of, wasn't given near the amount of money that all these other movies were being made.
Right.
But anyway,
one of the most popular movies of all time.
But yeah, it's to me, Home Alone is timeless because it's got the cartoonish hijinks and everything like that. Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern are just fantastic. Comedy with all the pratfalls and everything like that. Well, stuff that they had to do for real.
Right.
But anyway, getting back to the top 5, Home Alone, Christmas Vacation for me, 1A, 1B. 3, Elf, I would put up there.
Yep.
Just Will Ferrell, his facial expressions, are great. I think my favorite is like when he goes in to give the raccoon a hug and the thing snarls at him and he kind of recoils and it's priceless.
You'll enjoy this. So we were up in Frisco on Tuesday and Jack Green of all people quoted Elf.
And
I was like, Jack, of all people that were to quote the movie Elf, it wasn't expected out of you.
No, well, it doesn't surprise me as much, but I can see that. And then let's see, 4. I'm gonna slide in Muppet Christmas Carol, because again, it doesn't get better than the Muppets. Plus, Great Gonzo as Charles Dickens is excellent. And then 5th, it's kind of a new one. I mean, it's kind of been sliding. It's relatively new but it's Spirited, starring Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. It's a musical, which is kind of also a little added bonus, I think, for me. I
Spirited?
Kind of a sucker for
I don't think I've seen that one
theater.
Actually.
So it's on Apple TV Plus.
Okay.
But it's the Christmas Carol story, but from the perspective of the ghosts doing the haunting and stuff like that. So, and then you throw in it's a musical too, so it's kind of fun. I think it's clever. It's very nice, cute, kind of gets you in the holiday spirit.
All right, I like it. So, spoiler alert: I'm just not like a huge Christmas person. I'm not a huge Christmas fan. Like I like it, but like I'm very much a put your decorations up after Thanksgiving kind of guy.
Yes.
Please, for the love of God, don't play Christmas music like all year long or like in October. Like just start it December 1st, because by December 24th, you just get sick of it.
I would say Christmas music is fair game the day after Thanksgiving.
That's fair. That's fine. I can get with that. But it's like it just gets old really fast.
Sure.
And I know it's a time of giving and whatever, but it's like
come on, Scrooge.
I am. I'm a Grinch. I really am. I'm really a Grinch. We have someone upstairs, Melissa Vega, decorates her desk every year.
It's a winter wonderland
in the most extravagant way, and I sit right next to her. And so we still have the COVID screens up upstairs somewhere, in some places, and so I put just a picture of the Grinch right on hers, because I'm like, that's my Christmas decoration.
You're gonna steal it, huh?
So speaking of the Grinch, I'm gonna put him at 5. The Jim
Carrey movie.
Jim Carrey.
That's
version.
A solid one. Yes.
Jim Carrey version of the Grinch. I've seen recent interviews with him where he's like he almost quit the movie because he getting put in all that makeup every day. It was like 10 to 11 hours of makeup every day.
That's probably exhausting.
He was it was like being buried alive is what he said, because of all the makeup. So he almost quit that movie. But anyway, I think we're all happy that he didn't, because that was a classic.
Yep.
A Christmas Story is one, or is probably 4. I think that's one of the classics that I don't watch every year, but if I am to watch a Christmas movie, I'll watch A Christmas Story. Home Alone's probably 3. And then I'll put Elf at, I think I have Elf at 2, and then I have It's a Wonderful Life at 1.
Okay.
My dad was fascinated with It's a Wonderful Life. Every single year, whenever we're over at his house on Christmas Eve, he would make us watch It's a Wonderful Life, and I was just like, I hate this movie, and now I'm like,
now you're bought in.
It's a pretty good movie.
Yeah,
I mean, like it's so sad at first, and you're like, why are we watching this? And you want to turn it off,
right?
And and then it all gets better.
That's how I am with that movie. It just starts off like, I know it's redeeming in the end,
right?
But it's so sad, and it's I can't buy in. You know, it's like you're not hooking me.
Yeah, the second the pharmacist hits him because of his ear and is with his ear, I'm just like, stop, just like, I'm over this, please, for the love of God. And then it gets happy, and I'm just like, no, I hated this for so long. You can't make it happy now. But it's still a really good movie. Elf is probably 2, because I love Will Ferrell.
That movie's 20 years old this year.
Thanks for making me feel old.
It's facts.
I mean, It's a Wonderful Life, like 80 years old.
Well, sure, but it's like you grow up watching that movie because it's been around.
Well,
but
think about it this way: Anchorman's like over 20 years old.
Yeah,
Anchorman's 23 years old, and that's my favorite movie.
Yeah,
of all time.
Kind of crazy how those things happen. You don't think, oh, I remember this. It doesn't seem that long ago, but no, it actually is.
Yeah, it sucks. All right. We got through Christmas movies. Let's get through Christmas traditions. So, favorite Christmas tradition, whether that's family, whether that's opening packages on or presents on Christmas Eve. What are the Hedrick family traditions?
I don't know if we have we do have traditions, and there's not any hard and fast set things or something. I mean, we'll exchange kind of like family gifts on Christmas Eve. Santa comes Christmas morning. So that's kind of reserved for Christmas morning and everything. But the gifts that we get each other, we kind of exchange all those. Lately it's, we're putting puzzles together like all throughout the week or something like that. It's helping mom cut and decorate and ice and frost and sprinkle Christmas cookies and everything. It's a process, but it gets done, and everybody's happy when it gets done, right? Because you can't have Christmas without Christmas cookies. So those are kind of the main things. I think really to me, it's just I've gotten to that age where it's just like, I don't care. I don't need anything. Just let me spend time with family, with my parents and my sister. And that to me is just time well spent, because it's just that's what makes it.
Well, especially when you're in this industry specifically, it's like, you don't get it very often.
Yeah.
So like, I'm sure you got some time this past week. You were off this past week with your family and stuff. And next week I'll cherish the 5 days that I'm having in the desert, because like, you don't get that very often when you get to those,
kind of unbroken,
those working years especially when you're in this industry and you're just like, all right, it's Christmas. It's another day at this point, For me, my mom did something when I was a kid that I thought was stupid and I think is really smart now. She gave us and continues to give us an ornament every year as one of our presents. So she gives us an ornament and she tries to like relate the ornament to what we're into that year. So like when I graduated in 2013 from high school, that's Bob.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Bob.
Again.
Limbo.
So in 2013, when I graduated high school, she got me like a little graduation thing. When I got my first car, my second car, which was my dream car, which was a red Chevy Camaro, she got me a little red Chevy Camaro. And so every year she would get us a different ornament. And then when I moved out of the house, she was like, here, these are yours to start your own Christmas tree.
There you go.
So now, now that Jordan and I have our own Christmas and our own Christmas tree and all that stuff, I have all these decorations and stuff from my childhood that remind me of every year. So I thought it was just like, why are you doing this? Why? And then
it makes sense.
Yeah. And then I left and she's like, see.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like actual life size, because I had a similar tradition too with my family, but I have like a little, kind of mini Christmas tree.
Yeah, they're actual ornaments
and
for
it's
the
like,
whole tree.
So it's the real life. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
so
I like that.
So I will have, I think I have 28. I'll have 29 this year because I was 0 for my first Christmas. So I'll have 29 ornaments on the tree this year. Actually, I don't put a couple of them up because they're old and broke and all this stuff. But yes, I have 29 ornaments on our tree right now, or around our tree right now, from my mom. So that's one of my favorites. My second one was 11 or 12 o'clock, depending on the year. We always go over to my grandma's house for Christmas, and we always just bring all of our presents over there. So we'll open like a couple at my house, or we'll do stockings in my house. Sorry. We'll do stockings in my house, and then we'll bring all of the actual presents to my grandma's house, and we'll all just have a Christmas over there. And my grandma has always she did charcuterie before charcuterie was a thing. And so she would have all the cheeses and the crackers and the meats and stuff, and she calls them poo-poos. And so she was like, I always just got so hyped. I was like, Mimi, are the poo-poos ready? And she's like, the poo-poos are out, Maddie. The poo-poos are out.
There we go. Was
to her.
Grandma's house far?
No, it was like 10 minutes.
Oh man, that is so great.
Yeah, it was always like 10 minutes away. They still live in the exact same two places, my house and my grandma's house. So, but I talked to her yesterday, and I was like, Mimi, you know what we need on Monday, right? There you go. She's like, the poo-poos are here. Don't worry. Nice. And so that's my favorite Christmas tradition. And lastly, turkey gets a bad rap now, but is it ham? Is it turkey? Or is it prime rib in the Hedrick household?
I think around Christmas time it's ham. Turkey, I think, that's Thanksgiving. I know some people can do turkey at Christmas too. I wouldn't be opposed to turkey around Thanksgiving, but I think so. We did ham this round, so I think ham for Christmas.
100% it's ham or prime rib. It's one of the two. Like if you can afford prime rib and stuff, that's the better option there. But it's always one of those two for me. Turkey is very much a Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you kind of get turkeyed out after.
Yeah, well, especially if you make a huge turkey and you're just eating it for like a week and a half after Thanksgiving, you're just like, all right, I'm done. Thanks, though. Appreciate it. If anyone has comments or anything about our horrible Christmas takes, or him not being able to see Die Hard yet, or you want to tell us some of your family traditions, let us know. The comments are open. We will try and I need to get Bob a mic somehow so we can read some of these, but we'll hand Bob a mic real quick. Hold on. Yeah, I know. Just in case there is, we'll get Bob a mic over there.
Our new tradition is crossing the camera.
Yeah. Yes. Well, hey, the third wall is so overrated. All right. Fourth wall. Sorry. Anyway. All right. Let's get to some actual sports. So UTSA was about to have a really crappy Christmas. It looked like, because a half hour before the game, it was officially ruled that Frank Harris wasn't going to play in the bowl game, even though for 3.5 weeks beforehand, in probably 6 to 8 press conferences and media availabilities, everybody, I got Jeff Traylor crying on camera about how happy he was to coach Frank Harris one more time and coach all these seniors one more time. And sure enough, even though he was doing that, he knew Frank Harris wasn't playing. Like, it is the best, most impressive feat I have seen in a long time from any sports team, actually being able to keep that a secret, especially in the world we live in today, where there's a leak or there's something happening, and someone lets it slip that Frank's not playing. Everybody on the team knew, and sure enough, until 3 hours before kickoff, Marshall did not.
Right. When I first heard, and when y'all were talking to all the players afterward, I guess, okay, maybe they did know. I mean, I was kind of questioning at first, like, did the whole team know? I mean, I can understand if both Coach Traylor, the medical staff, and Frank all knew.
And Owen.
And right, because then it's like, I can imagine Coach Traylor just being like, okay, it's kept here, a circle of trust, and I know I'm not going to say anything. So like, if it gets out, I know it's somebody down here. But I mean, kudos to them though for doing that. And you feel awful for Frank. He wanted to be out there because he was probably doing everything in his power to get out there. It's just
he was
finally. I mean, and he's had a laundry list. I mean, even going back to high school, poor guy. Just dealing with knees and surgeries and everything. And of course, everything that he dealt with in the spring, getting up to play this year. But I really think, seeing it's kind of the fruits of everything that he's done. It paid off, seeing them win on Tuesday night.
Right. And just for reference, anybody in the media and not in San Antonio that doesn't know Frank and Jeff, that says Frank opted out, shut up.
Right. Yeah.
Like, just shut up. That's the furthest thing from the truth. Frank, I guarantee you, Frank put every single effort into playing this game, and there's just some things you can't play through.
Right.
And he couldn't play through this. If he took a hit, it would have damaged the rest of his life, not just this game.
Right.
And so he played through half of the game against Tulane with this injury. He got shot up and played through half of it. I mean, the injury that happened to Frank happened in the first half of the Tulane game. Went in at halftime, got a shot, played through the pain that day, and they still ended up losing. And it's just like 3.5 weeks later, it wasn't ready. And so anybody who says that he opted out, just shut up and don't talk about UTSA anymore, because you obviously don't know what you're talking about. But so that's first off. And then second off, you go down 14-0 because the first 5 possessions of Owen McCown's career are of his first start, at least. I know he played against Tennessee, but of his first start are punt, interception, punt, interception, punt. And it's just like, well, this is going badly.
Right.
And so everything is kind of like falling down, and then they finally get a touchdown on the board, and then Rashad Wisdom gets hurt, the other emotional leader on this team, who everyone, when you think of UTSA, you think Frank and Rashad, and then or Jeff Traylor. Right. And so it's like you lose the 2 faces of your program within the first 16 minutes of the game, and you're just like, what the hell else can go wrong? That you could have seen UTSA all crumble upon itself and kind of start pointing fingers and just be like, you know what, woe is me. But they didn't do that. They came back and won that game and were dominant from the time that they went down 14-0, 130, and ended up going on a 35-3 run. And it just showed exactly how impressive the resiliency of this team is, as we've seen all year long and all the entire time Jeff Traylor's been here.
Yeah, kind of to that point, the culture of this program, sometimes it ain't pretty, but they stick to it and they grind it out. I think that was kind of the adjective of the night. Coach Traylor was calling it another gritty win, and that certainly was it. Losing 2 of your key guys, but still, this team finds a way. That's I almost not compare, but I find a lot of similarities. I think of Army, they kind of do the same thing where it's just like, it ain't pretty, but you know what? They're going to give you heck for 60 minutes. And that's what UTSA does. It's like they may not have all the 5 stars or, flashy, things that all these other big name programs have, but it's just like, man, they find a way to get these guys, they coach these guys up, they develop them, they get them into spots where they do really well in the things that they can do, and then, man, they go out and execute. So when they stay within themselves and just play complimentary football, man, it's awesome to watch.
Just to update, Mimi just texted me and said that we're having Poo-Poo's ham and prime rib because it's a special holiday since I'll be home for once. So we're
pulling out all the stops.
So next Monday I will be in a food coma as we watch basketball and football on a Monday. So
enjoy it, man.
All right. So the thing that took my takeaway from the end of the game, especially because I was lucky enough to be on the field and get to talk to a lot of the guys afterwards. And Owen was the first person we ended up talking to, and so after the first 5 possessions, he was balling. He was lights out. There was a 41-yard play to Tyke Ogle-Kellogg at the beginning of the second quarter that just loosened everything up. Everybody loosened up after that. They started playing their game, and it was fantastic. So Owen was the first person we talked to. And I started seeing a theme as we talked to Owen, and then we talked to McEwen, and then we talked to Josh, and we talked to Frank and Rashad, and then we talked to 16 Booker Brown.
Nate Booker Brown.
Yep. And so we talked to all these guys, and the first words out of their mouth were the seniors, the seniors. And so I started asking them. I was like, why is it every single time I ask you guys about the importance of this game, it's the seniors? And it's because this senior class, especially with Rashad and Frank and Josh, and like the list goes on and on, even the punter, and like everyone has been here for so long, and they've invested so much into this program. And when they got here, it was crap. Relative to what it is now. And now they're a perennial contender for the conference and the divisions, and they're competing for playoff spots maybe in the next couple of years because of the expansion of the playoff. And it's because of these seniors and because of Jeff Traylor. And so getting this win and checking off this aspect of their bucket list was just so important to everybody. No matter who was on the field, they wanted to win this game no matter what.
Yeah. And I think it's, the first of many more. Something that I think struck me with what Coach Traylor said, it's like, yes, all these seniors are leaving, but the fabric of what these guys, have instilled is going to, reverberate through the next, 3, 4, 5, however many years, as long as, the guys who see this example stick around. And then hopefully that winning tradition continues, that culture, and then it just keeps on getting passed down, because that's what builds a program.
Yeah, that's what Devin McEwen had said after the game. Is he was like, they set the standard. They now have set exactly what the expectations are.
Right.
And whether we meet them or not, that's on us. So I know Frank's leaving now, and I know Rashad's leaving. I know they're losing a lot of seniors, but do not expect this team to take a step back, because they have some kids, Amador and McEwen and all of these guys that are balling out.
You got to look at the future. Yeah.
There's a lot of good talent on this UTSA program, and they did not lose a lot to the transfer portal.
And kind of, it's refreshing to hear what McEwen said. And I know it's almost like a year-to-year thing, attitudes change and all that, but it's refreshing to uphold it. So when you have that kind of attitude, and if, I'm sure McEwen's not the only one that shares that viewpoint, so if that's the attitude of your entire team, and, just think of the possibilities.
And that was the attitude with all the seniors to begin with. It's like, we want to set the standard for everybody, and they did exactly that. And as long as you have Jeff Traylor here to keep that standard going and keep the culture, keep the triangle going, then, the sky's the limit for these guys. They could very well come back, and if Owen plays like he did in the last 3 quarters, and they have depth at the running back position, they have depth at the wide receiver position, they've got depth all over. They have a lot of O-linemen coming in from this recruiting class we saw yesterday. So they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yep.
So, all right, let's get to the Cowboys real quick before we get out of here. Not going to talk about the Spurs today because it makes me sad. The Cowboys and the Dolphins play this weekend. Obviously, the Cowboys got trounced against the Bills. I'm kind of glad that we didn't end up going to that game, because it would have been really sad to go into that locker room.
Cold and wet, miserable.
Cold, it just would have been a cold day in Buffalo, which nobody wants. So this week, though, they're playing in a slightly warmer environment in Miami, and they are the same point spread underdog this week. I believe it's 2 points again to a AFC East team. How do you see this game playing out after, as we know, the Cowboys are much different on the road than they are at home. They are much different against good teams than they are bad.
Right.
And it is a must win.
Yeah, and I think, if you're listening to all the national talking heads, the Miami Dolphins kind of have some of the same warts as the Cowboys do. It's like they're not very good against the good teams. So this one, it's just kind of like, well, which one is going to rise to the top here? Tyreek Hill, of course, being a question mark, but still the Dolphins have plenty of other options. I mean, Devon Achane, former A&M, running back. So they utilize all their skill guys very well. And, Mike McDaniel is going to, put his guys in good positions and everything. Um, I feel like Miami can be a little bit more balanced. Of course, Buffalo didn't need to be. They could just run the ball and run roughshod over them. I think the Cowboys have a history of bouncing back. I think they'll play better. This might be one where I think Dak has to win it. So
yeah, the Cowboys don't.
It's a coin flip.
They don't play bad back-to-back games. They haven't lost back-to-back games, I think, since 2021.
Yep,
is the statistic I heard a little bit earlier this week. I'm going to be interested to see though how they respond, because they don't play well against inside zone teams or inside running teams because their DTs aren't very good right now. Mozzie Smith has not played up to standard of his or the class that his first round grade says he should be playing, and they're out Jonathan Hankins right now. So the inside of that D line is questionable. However, that's not really what the Dolphins do. They're an outside zone team. They're an outside running team. And so if you're going to run towards Micah, let's just say, and you have a lot of this motion and movement before the snap, if you're going to try and run to the outside, Micah's quick enough to get out there and set the edge to force him back inside. So I think it's kind of like a styles make fights sort of thing. We're going to have to figure out how they, or we're going to have to see how they hold up on the back end with their DBs on defense. But I think that the offensive side for the Cowboys has enough weapons to make life hell for the Dolphins D.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see Miami's approach. Will they do the same thing where they set their safeties back and don't let them we can't let the Cowboys beat us deep. That was the Buffalo's approach. But still, that was the thing that I think maybe might have been most frustrating. Is just okay, they're not going to let you get past 20 yards. Well, still find a way to dink and dunk your way down the field, and that didn't happen. Of course, Buffalo wasn't the best of conditions, but still, it's like you would like to find a way to move the offense a little bit.
I think if the Cowboys were going to lose a game though in their final four, that was going to be
that would have been the one.
It's coming off of the huge win against Philly. You're going on the road. You're in Buffalo against an AFC team that is desperate for a win at that point. Like
Buffalo is already in playoff mode.
Yeah, that was a playoff game for Buffalo, and it wasn't for the Cowboys because. And they're saying, and Clarence Hill, and I know all of the guys up in Dallas and all of the beat writers are saying that the Cowboys didn't know that they had clinched. I don't really buy that because they had clinched a playoff spot by the time the game kicked off in Buffalo. So I don't know what that plays into it. But when all those factors come in, and Buffalo was it was a scheduled loss almost. And so now you're going to Miami, and you are since Philly lost on Monday, you have a chance.
Yep.
All they need to do, your division hopes ride on Tommy Cutlets and the Giants playing against and beating the Eagles one of those two times that they play either this week or in 2 weeks. So I think that the Cowboys will win this game. I think it's going to come down to a last second, maybe a Brandon Aubrey field goal or a final drive by Dak, because we've seen the Dolphins lose at home. We just saw them lose to the Titans 2 weeks ago, and when they played like crap, but that was without Tyreek. So it's going to come down to health. Tyron Smith popped up on the injury report with some back injuries or back problems today. And Zach Martin has that thigh bruise. So we'll see how effective he is if he gets to play or if, something else happens. But I think that the Cowboys will win this game and then go into their final two games against the Lions and the Commanders, trying for still with hopes of NFC East title.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that can happen. I like the chance. I like the Cowboys' chances if it does come down to a Brandon Aubrey field goal.
So he hasn't missed yet. So
it's going to be another coin flip, another good game. Hopefully, I'm interested to see how the Cowboys respond, and if they do get punched in the mouth again, it's like, can they actually put up a fight this time?
Yeah. So we thank everybody for joining us today. We thank everyone for joining us this year. Since June, we've been doing the podcast, and it's been gaining a little bit of steam. And we thank everybody that has invested their time and effort into us this year. We hope to make it even better next year. January 2nd, going to come back. It'll be Tuesday, Thursday, is that Tuesday? Yeah, it'll be Tuesday, Thursday that week, and then every week there on after, it'll be Monday, Thursday. And we are planning some really fun stuff. So it'll be fun. Zach, thank you for coming on, and
no worries.
And always in providing insight, even though you haven't seen one of the most popular movies of all time. I need to get you like a DVD or DVDs are outdated now. I'm gonna like stream. Yeah, Bob, don't look at me like that. I'm showing my age
still
now.
yeah.
Do you still have DVDs?
Yeah, I got a whole thing of DVDs, a whole stack of DVDs and Blu-rays. So
you're showing your age now.
Hey, I'm kind of analog a little bit in some form, so I'm all for it.
I don't even have cable at this point.
We're analog. We're analog here with paper, So.
What do you want me to do? Print? I mean, no, you want to pull your laptop out?
Sure. Well, we got phones, whatever. I mean, but
Anyway, thank you everyone for watching the Seniors Cleats podcast. Remember to download, rate, review, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, tell a friend, tell an enemy. That'll be your Christmas gifts to me. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back on January 2nd. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. We will see you right back here in the new year on the Sneakers and Cleats podcast.